This story would take place right before King Cold and Mecha Frieza arrive on Earth, and on their way to Earth they find a planet with a pretty large power reading. King Cold passes by it and saying that they should be enough, but Frieza is insistent they should go and check it out so he can have a new right-hand man and build up a stronger army. Then land the ship on that planet and search around until they find a power level, and this power level would be stronger than any of Frieza's previous servants. This was Cabba, a Saiyan who had been born to two survivors of planet Vegeta's explosion. He would still have no tail, and we did nerf him a lot compared to himself in Super, but that's just to make the story work and not have him one-shot everybody. Frieza would ask Cabba certain questions and he would get responses out of Cabba, like the fact that he is a Saiyan and Cabba has no idea who Frieza is. Frieza would also notice that there's a lack of much life at the planet and asks if he had taken it over, and Cabba would then say no, and it's been this way since he's got here. And his Saiyan pod finally crapped out. And with that being said, Frieza, realizing that the Saiyan seems much nicer than most of them, decides to try and take advantage of this, and Frieza would then tell Cabba about what had happened to him and the fact that this guy gave him these cybernetic parts because he nearly killed them and he destroyed the planet that he was on, along with wiping out his entire army. And Frieza was going to use that army to try and rehabilitate the entire universe and make it a better place and help fix planets like these by helping the life flourish. With that being said, Cabba would want to do good, and now that he knows Frieza's morals, he would decide to join him, and Frieza's plan would work. Frieza would snake his way out of the situation, and this leads into Cabba joining Frieza and King Cold, and the three of them then head to Earth. On their way, Cabba is shown around the ship and asks a few questions about Frieza and Cold that they respond to, making Cabba trust them a lot more. Eventually they arrive on Earth and begin to wait for Goku. However, future Trunks will then arrive and dispatch of Frieza's entire army, and saying that Frieza himself is next. Cabba notes this, and due to Frieza being the closest thing to a friend he's had in a long time, he immediately charges into attack and he punches Trunks, but it's blocked by his arm. Trunks didn't remember Bulma saying anything about Frieza's men other than that he had Saiyans, so maybe this was one of them. He and Cabba begin to battle, with Cabba being able to keep up with Trunks, although he was blocking every attack. Eventually Trunks sensed Frieza's energy growing and looked over to see him charging a blast to off-guard him. He quickly bursts into Super Saiyan to deflect the blast and blow Cabba away. Frieza would then realize that this is a Super Saiyan transformation, and Cabba hears him say this, also realizing that Trunks is a Saiyan. Trunks then kills Frieza, and Cabba once again began to charge in, but Trunks moves his hand, telling him to stop. He told him that he had no idea the type of people they are, but he can sense the good in his heart. These two were not good in the slightest, and so Cabba stood back questioning all this while Trunks also killed King Cold. The Saiyan would then ask him what he meant earlier, and Trunks would explain over some sodas he brought. Cabba understands Frieza's evil and feels foolish for being betrayed like that. He looks up to Trunks in a way because he helped him realize this. He also learned that Trunks is only a few years older than him. Along with the group questioning Trunks, they also question Cabba on things such as his race, age, backstory, etc. Vegeta takes note that he's a young Saiyan and says that he must have some good potential if he's another generation of Saiyans. Cabba says that he's just been doing some training while trying to survive on the planets he's been on, and Goku arrives and Trunks tells him everything, gives him the medicine, and after he leaves, Goku realizes that there's a new kid. He then questions him and Piccolo, telling everyone about the androids. Here, Cabba is presented with the choice to stay on Earth and train with Vegeta, or take Frieza's ship and leave. Cabba, wanting to find a place to actually live with other people, decides to stay and train with Vegeta. During these 3 years of peace, the two would learn Super Saiyan, and both of them would be stronger than Vegeta was in canon because Vegeta has a sparring partner here. Vegeta teaches Cabba some of his moves, and Cabba makes some variations like the Gallic Cannon. Vegeta helps him become far stronger both in combat and will, and by the end, the two are close in strength. Vegeta also mentally notes that Cabba will surpass him one day. As the 3 years pass, Android 19 and 20 arrive, Yamcha gets absorbed, and Goku fights 19 and loses, with Yamcha taking him back home to get the medicine for the heart virus. However, it was then at that point Vegeta and Cabba arrived. Android 20 noted that he had nothing in his research about Cabba, but Vegeta then told him that it wouldn't matter because his research would be useless once he's dead. Vegeta took on 19 to show that he could beat him, unlike Kakarot, while Cabba fought 20. Vegeta would proceed to kill 19 without anything being absorbed from him, and saw Cabba take down 20, who begged for his life. Cabba wanted to spare him, but Vegeta tells him to end it. Dr. Gero then uses this opportunity to blast the ground and get dust in everyone's eyes so that he could absorb Cabba's energy and get away. He then makes it to his lab, releasing the androids, who would then kill him. Vegeta then opts to fight 18 and she agrees, however it doesn't end up in her favor since Vegeta here is a lot more powerful and a better fighter. So in the beginning he wins pretty decently and 17 sees this and decides to join in, hitting Vegeta away. Cabba then charges in at 17 and went Super Saiyan again to face him, and Cabba was able to keep up with 17 equally. However, the drain of Super Saiyan would hinder him in the fight, same for Vegeta running low on energy before his killing blow. This allows for 18 to begin beating on Vegeta, and the same goes for 17 to Cabba. This is then when around the time Trunks and the Z Fighters all decide to try and jump the androids and get bodied as well, and 16 asks if they can go now, and so they do. Vegeta doesn't get a broken arm here, and so he doesn't go sulk in the mountains, instead opting to go to the gravity room to improve while Cabba stayed back with the group. Piccolo fuses with Kami and Cabba goes with him to go and search for Cell, and the two find him and Piccolo still bodies him, although when Cell absorbs his arm, Cabba blasts him with the Gallic Cannon in Super Saiyan. The two then listen to his speech before he then uses a solar flare and escapes, lowering his energy. The two try to find him, but ultimately they cannot, and Goku then recovers and tells everyone about the time chamber, offering Vegeta to go first with whoever he wants, and this time he decides to go in with Cabba, and so Trunks would then go in with Piccolo after Goku and Gohan go in. During this, Trunks and Piccolo search for Cell and eventually were found by the androids on Kame House, and the two agree to fight them once again, but Piccolo says that he will take care of 17 if he wins, and they will take on 18 together. Trunks agrees, and Piccolo's fight with 17 goes the same, with Cell arriving and trying to absorb 17. However, with Trunks here, he tries to fight Cell off as Piccolo tells the androids to run. 17 still refuses like in canon and eventually gets absorbed. Cell then searches for 18, but that's when Vegeta and Cabba arrive, and the two are stronger than Vegeta and Trunks were due to them already being stronger as well and actually training together in the time chamber instead of doing their own thing. Oh yeah, and I forgot, they are actually in grade 4 this time. Reason why is because they were already stronger and trained together, unlike Vegeta and Trunks in canon, and Cabba would learn the faults of Super Saiyan grade 3 and wouldn't try and take advantage of it. He would then try and push past it, unlocking grade 4 before Vegeta does, and Vegeta congratulates him and begins to try and unlock it for himself. And toward the end of their training he actually does so, and now he easily bodies Cell and still tries to give him a chance to absorb 18 like in canon. However, Cabba doesn't want to waste 18's life when she really hasn't done much to them, and he also noticed her kiss for Krillin. On top of this, it would make Cell stronger, and he doesn't want that to happen. And so he decides to defy his mentor by transforming into grade 4 and firing a big bang attack at semi-perfect Cell, disintegrating him. Vegeta is angered by this and yells at Cabba for it, but Cabba tries to defend himself by saying that he didn't want Cell to end up winning. Vegeta insulted his lack of confidence and told him he needed to go on his own for a while. The group then waited for Goku and Gohan to get out, and so after that Piccolo and Trunks then go in, and Trunks would be weaker than his canon self, but Piccolo would be stronger due to him having a training partner. Trunks would learn Super Saiyan grades 2 and 3, but Cabba would warn him about grade 3, Trunks thanks him and leaves to defeat his own androids. Vegeta would then tell his apprentice that he was serious about what he said before and to come back in a year or to show him that he's improved. Cabba agrees and once again apologizes. During the first year of the 7-year peacetime, he trains on his own while also trying to live in the city. He tries to learn a few things about humans and things like that, just trying to become more accustomed to Earth than he was while mostly training with Vegeta. He also tries to date people, which is something that Bulma recommended, and he does meet someone which you guys might be familiar with. Marin. Yeah, I know she's a filler character, but Toriyama has stated that filler is just an expansion of the manga and had even helped on some filler. And past that, Marin is also referenced in Dragon Ball Super. Anyways, the two then date for a while, and over time Marin realizes she actually likes Cabba aside from just his money that he had from Capsule Corp, plus Cabba isn't a simp, so he isn't just gonna buy her everything. The two then get married and have a kid about 2.5 years into the time skip, and so now they have their own house near Capsule Corp where Cabba goes to train with Vegeta and also bonds with Trunks, who sees Cabba as an uncle. We'll say that the kid is indeed a girl with blue hair, and her name can be Maru, combining Marin and Cabba's names in Japanese. She develops a good friendship with Goten and Trunks, and during the time skip as well, despite being younger than them. Goku is also training on Earth since he didn't die and would be weaker than his canon self. Moving on to the Buu Saga, the tournament still happens and everyone enters, but this time Cabba does as well, and it doesn't last long though due to them having to go after Popovich and Yamu. While they go out, Maru would be chilling with Marin, aka Krillin's daughter, and they become friends pretty quickly, although between Marin and Krillin it is a little awkward. Eventually the Z Fighters go after Popovich and Yamu, only to have Kibito die and Krillin and Piccolo turn to stone, and then they would have to go inside of Babidi's lair. And the ones to go out and stop Babidi are Goku, Vegeta, and Cabba, and they all defeat the threats inside of Babidi's lair pretty easily. Babidi tries to control Vegeta, however he isn't affected due to him having already fought Goku multiple times throughout the time skip. This then leads into no Majin Buu and Babidi being killed soon after. After this, some time would pass and Beerus would arrive on King Kai's planet to face Goku while everyone else would attend to Bulma's birthday party. Beerus bodies Goku, whose highest form is Super Saiyan 2 this time. Now after this portion of the story, things start playing out with the canon timeline, and the only difference is that Cabba is included here and he gets bodied by Beerus along with the rest of the Z fighters. Along with also that when Goku learns about the ritual, Videl's pregnancy is never spoken about since we both have Cabba and Maru. Goku then gets the transformation and fights Beerus like in canon, and afterwards Whis offers Vegeta to train with him and he agrees, and Cabba also decides to tag along.
Under Whis, Vegeta and Cabba get much stronger and unlock Super Saiyan God before Goku even shows up. Speaking of which, when he does show up, the two of them help Goku get stronger as well, allowing for all three to unlock Super Saiyan Blue. Cabba decides to return home after doing so, as it had been a good part of a year since he had done so. He wanted to see Marin and Maru again, and so Whis transported him away after saying goodbye to Goku and Vegeta. Upon returning, Maru asks about what he did while he was gone, and Cabba told her everything about the training. A few months later, Frieza would arrive with his new army. Cabba shows up along with the Z fighters and sees Frieza, remembering his betrayal. The two would battle as the rest of the Z fighters fought his men. Their bases would be close, with Frieza having the edge due to Cabba not spending the entire time training. Cabba used Super Saiyan to overpower him, and Frieza then went golden, which allowed for Goku and Vegeta to show up. Cabba continued to fight though, using Super Saiyan Blue. He was losing to Frieza, and that's when the Emperor changed his opponent to Goku. Goku went blue and also fought Frieza, so now when Vegeta fights him, he is going to easily beat him until he loses the golden form. Frieza then tries to blow up Earth, but Cabba uses Super Saiyan God and fires a Gallic cannon to kill him. He had taken Frieza out as payback for his betrayal. The Universe 6 saga then happens, and Cabba goes instead of Majin Buu. He passes the test with everyone else, but Goku still wants to go first. He eventually loses to Frost after beating Botamo, but Cabba notices that it was odd wanting to fight next. He goes in and doesn't hold back as much as Goku did, using Super Saiyan God to easily bat Frost down and take him out of the arena, stating that he is just like Frieza. Cabba then takes on Vegeta and overpowers him with God as well, although he worked his way up to that point with the other forms. He then has to face the Saiyan of Universe 6, Caulifla. Caulifla would be replacing Cabba since he wouldn't be here as he's in Universe 7. Champa still wanted a Saiyan though, since Goku and Vegeta were Universe 7's top fighters, and so he sought Caulifla out. Caulifla is very cocky and determined, unlike Cabba, so she demands Cabba teach her Super Saiyan. He agrees, telling her to channel her rage and use it as a weapon. She does so and eventually transforms. She attacks Cabba, but he bodies her, telling her to aim for grade 4 as it could help her with the energy drain. He then uses said grade to beat her. Cabba would then move on to Hit, who he would use blue for once again. He fights him but ultimately ends up losing. Vegeta, seeing his student fight, pays very close attention and notices that something here is not right. Vegeta then tries to overwhelm Hit by using Super Saiyan Blue immediately, but Cabba tells him not to, so he powers down. Instead of fighting in base like Goku, he fights Hit in Super Saiyan 2, trying to get an understanding of his secret. Eventually, Vegeta realizes what it is and counters it. He manages to finally hit Hit and laughs, going blue. He announces that he has found out his trick, and with this power and this knowledge, he should be able to win this. He fights off against Hit close to how Goku did in canon, and eventually manages to knock him out of the ring, though he is extremely drained. Vegeta reverts back into his base, and Goku is sad because he didn't get to go all out, but Cabba reminds him that they're fighting to keep Earth, not to have fun. That's just a bonus. Universe 7 keeps their Earth, and wishes to restore Universe 6's Earth with the Super Dragon Balls. Now we move on to the Black Arc. Cabba can't go into the time machine with them, so all that changes here is Vegeta and Goku are stronger, so Black will get stronger faster. Moving on to the Tournament of Power, which is going to take up most of this part, Cabba is recruited for the preliminaries instead of Buu, and Piccolo in place of Gohan. He didn't get to fight last time, and Gohan's maximum is his Cell Games counterpart, so not really going to be useful. Piccolo and Cabba both body their opponents, and then comes the recruitment part. which will be partially different from in canon. The roster will still consist of Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, Krillin, Tenshinhan, Roshi, 17, and 18. So we're only swapping Frieza out for Cabba, which I guess is another way Cabba gets his revenge. However, Gohan's power and Piccolo's is much different from in canon. Upon his canon counterpart, training with Piccolo, he reaches a crazy strong level, making him comparable to some forms of Goku. However, in canon, that Gohan's max was Ultimate Gohan from the Buu Saga. Here, it's grade 4 Gohan from the Cell Saga. Huge difference. So Piccolo's training is only going to do so much, definitely not going to make him as strong as he was in canon. However, I think that because of Gohan's humiliating defeat by Togama in the Frieza Saga, he will still train with Piccolo before the Universe 6 Saga, and then will seek further power. He has Piccolo talk to the Supreme Kai about letting him train with him, and he agreed. One day, he brought Gohan to the planet of the Kais and let him train with the Z-Sword. He would be able to lift it, as he would have unlocked Super Saiyan 2 whilst training with Piccolo. He and Piccolo then trained with the sword for about a day, eventually breaking it on a block of Kachin. The Elder Kai comes out of the sword and offers to unlock whoever released him's potential. This leads to Gohan getting the ultimate form. Piccolo also decides to do the same, and the two return to Earth. So he's going to be much weaker than in canon, but at least he still has ultimate, and so does Piccolo now. So now that we have our roster, let's get into the actual tournament. I think Cabba would be with the other half of the team trying to stick together, while Goku, Vegeta, and the androids would dip immediately. Krillin would still be knocked off the ring by Frost, who would be seeking revenge on Cabba. The two fight, but once Cabba goes into Super Saiyan God to mirror Frost's previous defeat, he easily knocks him out of the ring. This means Roshi wouldn't go out trying to use the Mafaba on Frost, and unlike a bunch of my other what-ifs, I don't think he would use it on Ribrianne either. I think Cabba would see Vegeta struggling with Ribrianne and jump in to help. The two Super Saiyans would have some banter while fighting off against her, eventually knocking her off with a duo attack. Cabba asks Vegeta for a high five, but he leaves him hanging. We probably should talk about Universe 6's new fighters since Cabba isn't there. I think it would probably just be a Saiyan from Caulifla's gang, or maybe Cabba's mentor from in canon. Either way, they'd probably be knocked off early by someone in Universe 7, or maybe even another universe. One of them might even try to challenge Jiren. Goku helps Caulifla reach Super Saiyan 2, and fights Kale as well, so that still remains the same. When the whole sniper thing happens, I think Tenshinhan would still do his whole multivorm thing, where he ran out into the open when there was a sniper. They ruined Tenshinhan. Anyway, he does that, but this time as a diversion so it actually makes sense. Since Roshi is there, he can use the Mafaba on the sniper, and upon success, open up the jar over the edge of the ring, making him fall out. This saves both Tenshinhan and Roshi from elimination. Goku eventually unlocks Ultra Instinct Omen through fighting Jiren, and that fight goes the same. Goku would then fight Caulifla and Kale once again, but this time Cabba would help. Caulifla would want to face Cabba again, but he isn't really too fatigued, so he's able to use Super Saiyan God. However, Goku tells him not to, and to only use it if he has to, as he wants a good fight, to help him regain his stamina. Cabba reluctantly agrees, and Goku fights Kale while Caulifla fights Cabba. Eventually, the two begin overpowering them, and Goku uses Super Saiyan God. Cabba also does, and the two are easily able to body the female Saiyans. That's when Caulifla and Kale use the Potara earrings and fuse, forcing Cabba and Goku to both use Super Saiyan Blue. This isn't enough, and Kefla pushes Goku to Blue Kaioken. Cabba powers down and stands back while the two clash, and eventually Goku reawakens Ultra Instinct Omen. He then rings Kefla out. Gohan and Piccolo's fight against the Namekians would be weird. In canon, the two can both compare to Gohan and Piccolo's bases, but also somehow Ultimate Gohan. Here, Gohan is much weaker, but I'd say Piccolo is much stronger due to having Ultimate. I think that the fight would mostly be the same, but Gohan might sacrifice himself to get one of them out, so Piccolo can take out the other. But Piccolo's later eliminated by the Bug Dude, so I guess we just lost Gohan. The Aniraza fight stays the same, but replaced Gohan and Frieza with Cabba, Tenshinhan, and Hiroshi. The two Earthlings aren't going to be much, but Cabba sure is. 18 still sacrifices herself for 17, and we continue on. Goku and Vegeta both fight Jiren, while Cabba and the Earthlings fight Dispo. The plan is for Cabba to hold Dispo off so that Roshi can use the Mafaba, with Tenshinhan providing additional support where he can. Unfortunately though, this plan backfires, as Dispo is too fast so Roshi misses. Dispo then saw this and quickly turned his attention to the two Earthlings. Cabba was still recovering from the attacks Dispo had thrown when he saw them trying to fend Dispo off, although losing badly. Dispo then knocked the two out of the ring, and that's when Cabba realized he was the last hope. If he doesn't beat Dispo now, it will come down to Goku, Vegeta, and 17 versus Jiren, Toppo, and Dispo. And currently, Vegeta was holding his own against Toppo, and the same could be said for Goku and 17 against Jiren. However, if Dispo joins either fight, it would become clear that they would lose. This fight could determine the winner, and so he couldn't just let himself lose. He began to fight against Dispo, but saw his defeat was coming close. Dispo hit him with a crazy amount of hits in quick succession, and Cabba's mind began to go blank. He couldn't think because of the attack speed and strength, and that's when Dispo suddenly realized that he wasn't hitting anything anymore. He looked around for Cabba before turning around and seeing him once more. Only now, Cabba was not speaking. His eyes were silver, and he had a distinct aura. Ultra Instinct Omen. Dispo realizes that this was the same state Goku took when he avoided all of his and Toppo's attacks before finally pushing Jiren. Dispo charged in trying to hit Cabba, but everything was dodged. Eventually, he stopped to breathe, and one punch was thrown that caught him off guard, before Cabba hit him with a flurry of punches, sending him flying out of the ring. After this, Cabba's body began breaking down. He was not as well suited for this as Goku was, but everyone in the crowd and the arena noticed it and congratulated him, although from afar. Cabba fell to the ground, out cold. Meanwhile, Vegeta had obtained Blue Evolution and fought Hakaishin Toppo. Vegeta easily beats him due to being stronger than in canon, and eventually uses a Final Flash to knock him out of the ring. Vegeta then reverts to base, being drained heavily. He went to go find Cabba and eventually found him unconscious on the ground. He then sat next to him, trying to rest his body, but also ready to defend his student if he had to. As that's happening, 17 sacrifices himself against Jiren, but Jiren makes it through this, and Goku tries to instant transmission to Vegeta. He tells him that they have to work together even if they're fatigued. If they lose, then Cabba can fight instead, but it won't matter if they lose now. Vegeta accepts this and runs off with Goku to try and savor their energy and lead Jiren away from Cabba. The two run around the arena, splitting up with Jiren trying to catch up. He eventually cut Vegeta off and knocked him to the ground. Goku saw this and rushed over to hit Jiren in the face with a punch. This did nothing, and Jiren took his other hand and hit Goku into the ground as well. The two went Super Saiyan Blue, as they didn't have enough energy to go any further. They fought against Jiren, but to no avail. The two weren't enough in only Blue, and Jiren prepared to eliminate Vegeta, and so he gave his last bit of energy to Goku. This fueled Goku a little bit more, but it still wasn't enough. Luckily, that's when Cabba showed up once more. He used Super Saiyan God to try and regain his strength as well, but 2 Super Saiyan Gods would not be enough to stop Jiren. Goku tries to push it further with Blue, and so Cabba gives him his energy as well, but it still would not be enough. Jiren slapped him away, reverting him into his base. However, here is when Goku awakens Ultra Instinct Omen for the 3rd time. Cabba smiles as he watches he and Jiren square off again. Eventually, Goku gets pushed to reach the true Ultra Instinct form. He then begins pummeling Jiren, though he taps out a bit faster than in canon. Once that happens, 17 returns to help Cabba while Goku recovers. The two are able to hold Jiren off like Frieza and 17 did in canon, though Goku wakes up and helps in the fight. This time, Goku and Cabba both rush Jiren and knock themselves out of the ring along with him. 17 then wishes for all the universes to be brought back. This happens and the gang return to Earth. Next is the Broly movie, which would be just like it is in most What Ifs where Frieza isn't brought back. Let's get through this quickly. Berry Blue takes charge, searches for new recruits, finds Broly and Paragus, brings them to Earth, they fight, but she can't kill Paragus, so Broly stops, and then the two go back to Vampa. Sorry, I've just said this ending and so many what ifs, it's just gotten sad. Anyway, that's the end of this collab. Hopefully you all enjoyed the story, as I definitely did, and it was cool to finally do a collab with Tylearn. We've been talking about it forever, and so it finally happening is pretty great. Anyway, make sure you go subscribe to him as well as me if you enjoyed the videos. But as always, tell me if you liked this collab, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, have a great day.